back for Stropperson. Will launch a three for the win. And he made it!
The chance for Iowa State to take the lead. And they do.
Blows right by him and stuffs it with the right hand. Hello.
The lob. Martin the finish.
At the end of the day, we all know it's a Cyclone state.
All right. Welcome to the show. Sunday night, December 7th, the year of our Lord 2025. College football is in shambles. Matt Campbell is the head coach of Penn State. But we still have college basketball to discuss today. And that, my friends, is how we kick off potentially the happiest podcast that this group will probably ever record. But maybe a Final Four. We've already won a Big 12, so, that's not the same. Probably the most satisfying win in school history took place on Saturday. Iowa State beats Purdue 81-58 in Mackey Arena. Number one team in the country goes down hard. Big tree fall hard. And with me to break it down, as always, is Tom Turner and Nate Schuster, who just got off of another ultra-satisfying win, considering they're both Packers fans, as the Bears go down. So, fellas, what a weekend.
Packers win. Vikings win. Not Vikings win. Steelers win. Both divisional games. Iowa State wins. Creighton loses, and I couldn't care less. Great weekend.
Yeah, and we get a Lando Norris World Championship. I'm nearly 100% except for a certain football incident, but it's fine.
What got you into? So you follow F1?
Yeah, been in for a little bit. My dad's always been into it, so it's just been fun catching up with him, and it's just the way that we bond. So
I'm surprised that Max Verstappen didn't win for like the 20th time.
2 points. The whole season he was 2 points off. So that's the difference between going from fourth to fifth in a race. So if he would have finished one place higher, he would have won on tiebreakers. At any race.
Bonkers. Because how many years in a row has he won, or am I making that up that he's just?
So he would have tied the all-time record of 5 in a row if he would have gotten 2 more points this year. But he had a few. I mean, there was 3 racers in contention this morning. They all had a chance based on various finishes, but they were all relatively realistic. Like, hey, if you win the race and the other guy finishes 4th, you win the whole thing. It just so happened that the guy that was leading got 3rd, and it didn't matter, but it was close.
Nice. And Lando, who's he drive for?
McLaren.
Okay. Cool. Congrats to them. Great weekend all around. You add the racing stuff in there. It's like a cherry on top.
Yeah.
It's cool. We've got a lot to talk about with this game. And frankly, we could probably spend 2 hours talking about it if we really wanted to. I don't even know where to start. We could maybe just peruse through the box score if you guys want and talk about our favorite stats, because honestly, you can choose any angle to break this down of any type of way you'd like to. And you could make this podcast the happiest in the world by just discussing any of it. So I don't know, Tom, like where do we even begin? Where do we go from here?
Well, one, I think before, just a small tidbit before we even get to the box score, the 11 a.m. start was the best. You wake up, not enough time where you're so nervous. You enjoy the win, and guess what? You got a full day of a great slate of sports to enjoy it. Now, obviously, there's a big thing that happened on Friday. That was a pretty downer for all of us. But we focus on Saturday and a lot of good vibes. And if you look at the box score, the big thing for me, Mackey, the best environment, maybe right next to Michigan State for the Big Ten, probably top 10 going into the game. Now, after that, I think you got to put it a little lower because we made it look like it was nothing. But Milan, 0 turnovers. Taman and Torrey, both of our point guards, combined for 1 turnover. Just unbelievable. Very impressed with the bench. But the starters, everybody, there's so much to talk about. Try to remain as calm as possible. But maybe start with one negative that I really noticed from the beginning. Braden Smith really had Jefferson's number early. kind of just picking on him just with the mental stuff. Like, oh, look, this passing lane's open. No, it's not. I'm going to catch it. Making Jefferson think that he could take him off the dribble, steals the ball, just like the little stuff like that during the beginning of the game. But then Jefferson ran into foul trouble, and he cleaned it up a lot in the second half when he was able to play. We really got to Smith. We got his number. That was really the only negative I really saw. We were out-rebounded by 1 at their place, and not actually looking at the numbers, it felt like we rebounded great, not like we lost by 1. So, yeah, I threw one negative in there, and I think it's one of the few that we saw from this game.
If we look at what us three thought going into the game when we recorded last week, we thought, how do we win this game? Well, we stopped the extra pass 3. They shot 4 for 18. We did that. We talked about how they have the 2 most efficient offensive rebounding bigs in the country and the most efficient offensive player in the country. Let's see what they did. Trey Kaufman-Renn 1 for 8. Yes, he had 9 rebounds, and yes, Clough had 6 rebounds. Clough with 4 fouls. We did exactly what we said we needed to do, which was get him in foul trouble, make them play through Kaufman-Renn. And what do you know? You dominate them because their most efficient offensive player wasn't on the court. That's proper game planning. That this team is real. Like there's this Ken Pom rank of 2 is not a joke. Like this is a real ranking, and I think people need to respect us for what we are. They're calling this the best non-conference road win ever, and I don't think there's any games I can think of that are better.
I love that you're saying that, because statistically impossible, because it's the largest loss a number 1 team has taken at home, right? Isn't that the stat that I saw? So it has to. And
if Mackey Arena is this, harrowed place of like, oh, this is so scary, but like this team goes to Allen Fieldhouse every year. This team goes to Texas Tech every year. They play in a loud arena. Noise does not affect them like these other Big Ten schools. And I think we really out Big 12 them. Like the Big Ten plays a slower style, and I think that's what they're going to be used to. And they're going to play really well in conference play because they're going to be playing against Northwestern. Like we play against real teams in the Big 12, and we showed them what a real team looks like.
You really got to give it to our guards to settle down that environment that early. Taman looked like he was on a snap count a little bit in the first half. And Torrey just came in there, freshman point guard, acted like it was nothing. I think their biggest lead in the first half was 5, maybe 6. And like from then on, I mean, we just kept the pressure on them. Defensively, offensively, Milan took it to him, which we all expected him to do with the size mismatch. And then just running the offense. When Jefferson got in foul trouble, I mean, Taman and Torrey it's so hard to describe the love you have for a veteran point guard in the game of college basketball, because they do so many things in so many different ways.
And to piggyback on that, right, you had a F+ game from Jefferson. Like arguably he was forcing things. He was sloppy. I don't think the pace was really quite what he wanted to be playing at. He looked bothered a little bit. We had an F game from Jefferson and still beat Purdue by 1 trillion. Our best player.
They only had 3 more turnovers than us.
Right, exactly. In the
first,
how many turnovers did we have in the first half? Like 8 or 9?
8.
Like
we had 8 and then 4 in the second.
Yeah, so there you go. There's the game right there. So, but what I will say is at halftime, I put in the group chat, we've turned the ball 8 times and we're up 4. What does that tell you?
Could have been up more too. Like the last minute, 2 opportunities to extend it too. And it's just
I sorry to interrupt. I don't feel like they were prepared at all for physicality. I don't feel like their game plan was very good. When you have a ball dominant point guard like they do with Braden Smith, who, by the way, does not change my opinion about him. He's still incredible. Like that's a great player. There's nothing wrong with Purdue. Like this is not a reflection about Purdue being a bad basketball team. And that's what's kind of hard to fathom, is that like we did whatever we wanted to them. And like I get it. Like they didn't shoot the ball well, but I will tell you, if you look at who is taking majority of their threes, you look at Braden Smith, look at Fletcher Lawyer, a lot of their bench guys, role players, were the guys that were left open on purpose. Like you look at Omar Mayer, who took a few of them. He's a 29% three-point shooter. You look at Harris, and then the other guy whose name I'm forgetting because the box score is not in front of me, Benter, Harris, also combined to take like 6 or 7 threes, and I think they only made 2 of them between the 4 of them or whatever it was. Like that's a scouting win and a game plan huge win, Nate, like you're saying.
Yeah, they went into this game focused. It just felt like on all facets we were a better team. And even when they got the threes, they weren't really good looks because it felt like we were moving so effectively on airtime while the ball was being moved in the air from the passes. Like we were 2 steps ahead. I thought Buchanan played fantastic in the second half. There was a little bit of a lull in the scoring. I thought in like the 13 to the 8-minute mark, Buchanan comes in, hits a nice bank. And the other piece too, I don't want to ramble too much because we could talk about this game for hours, but the mid-post passing from big to big on this team is something I'm not used to seeing from a college basketball team or any team, quite honestly. It feels like you're watching a European team play with how much there's like this lane-to-lane line passing, and it's really impressive that we have the skill to be doing that and that we're fostering an environment to allow our players to do that too is even better because it just makes us harder to guard. Like if we're passing like that interior and we got guys looking in, who's covering Milan as he's moving to the corner? Like that's how this picture gets painted. We're going to be damn good.
To jump on that passing from the bigs ability is that just opened up everything. The 3-pointers, Milan taking control, and then also the drives. With the bigs ability to pass the ball at such an efficient rate of like not over the head or somewhere where they got to scramble for the ball, but it's right to the chest, and then you have Dom Nelson or Heisey that can make one quick move and boom, they're to the rim. Heisey and Nelson both combined for 14 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists off the bench. Like, that's just what you need. Nelson had a couple drives that were phenomenal. I mean, I said it when the game was going on. When he's under control, he's a better penetrator than Keyshawn was. And I don't think that's like a crazy thing to say either. The way he can just slither his way inside, the body control, it's awesome. And the offense, I didn't think would gel this well this early. And yet it has. And it has in an environment like Purdue. It had on a neutral floor against a very physical St. John's team. It's very exciting. And we're coming up on Thursday against a pretty good defensive team as well. And it would be interesting to see if the gelling continues and if the offense continues to look so good.
Did you guys watch any of Matt Painter's post-game presser at all?
I haven't yet.
I saw some clips, but nothing too much.
I watched about 10 of the 20 minutes of it, and he basically talked about Iowa State the entire time. If you want to go and find something to watch before bed, that's the clip you can find online. It's like 20 minutes long. He specifically called out Heisey and Nelson as guys that he's like, you just need. I think he called them functional winners, where he's like, those guys are not complaining about minutes, but they're coming off the bench and they're doing their job, and then they're going to sit back down, then they're getting up and they're doing their job again. Like, those are role players whose jobs are extremely important when they're in the game for a limited time. So how can you find a way to make an impact when you have short minute stints? So like Nelson, for example, only played 9 minutes. Like obviously Heisey played close to 30 because he's part of the larger rotation. But you get a guy that is in the game for 9 minutes and ends up scoring 7 points, getting a rebound, and maybe only turn the ball over a couple of times. Like, that's a great way to win a game, and it's a reflection of the team chemistry and the roster makeup as well. Like, you have guys that are saying, no problem, I can come in and give you whatever is decided upon based on my skill set to help us win. And especially in college basketball, I don't feel like you see that a lot.
Yeah, I think it's really nice. One, it's a great culture that they're building, obviously. But two, I mean, look at the success that we've had putting players in the pros, either in the NBA or overseas. Like, that's how you get a big contract, is playing that type of basketball. Like those teams overseas, they look at this type of tape and they're going to look at a guy like Dominic Nelson, a guy like Nate Heise. Both those guys are capable of playing overseas basketball, not a doubt in my mind. And they're going to be like, yeah, like this guy is a guy we want to sign. I think that's a great reputation, because you're not going to get every NBA guy to come to your school in this era of college basketball, but you can find functional winners and say, hey, if you do this, you do X, Y, and Z, you're going to make 6 to 7 figures overseas.
They just join in with how great this offense has been. I didn't even notice until I was looking at the box score today. We only shot 6 free throws, and it didn't feel like it. It didn't feel like we needed to get to the rim, get some free shots, because we got a great shot every time down the floor. We got what we wanted. And early we were missing threes, and I was saying it live. They were great misses. All the misses in and out. Milan's first shot in and out. Taman had one in and out. They just looked great. I'm like, these are going to fall eventually, whether they're mid-range shots or still behind the arc. These are going to fall, and they ended up doing so, and it just proved, once again, the gelling of the offense is kind of unreal right now.
It was a sight to behold, because I don't feel like we did. So first and foremost, when we make 11 threes, we take this with a grain of salt. We'll win the national championship if we average 11 made threes a game. Like that is a fact. I don't know if anyone that is listening who would disagree with me. If we made 11 threes a game, we would win the national championship easily.
Well, Torrey had 3 of them. If Torrey makes 3 threes every game, we're not going to lose.
If Iowa State got 33 points a game on threes with our defense, like, come on,
And I think what was so encouraging was that I feel like this is slightly a reflection on Purdue, because there was definitely a point in the second half where you go, they're done. Like this is done. Because even Matt Painter said afterwards, he's like, they broke our spirit. I'm like, yeah, you're damn right. Because once you go down to 18 of this team, like, this is done. We had wide open looks, right? Like, it wasn't like you watched the offense and it wasn't like, oh, bad decision, but lucked into a make there. Like, oh, it was a shot clock 3, right? We just had to get something up. Like, these are in rhythm threes. You had plenty of corner threes when guys were over helping on Purdue. Like, they were scrambling all game.
When do you think they quit? Because I think we only watched 32 minutes of competitive basketball at the most.
That was exactly where I was going to go. I was going to say that under 8 timeout.
I
would say even sooner than that, probably like the 10-minute mark.
I'm thinking like it could even be that far too. Like, that's number 1 team on the road. You played 3 quarters of a game and you beat the hell out of them.
One big play I noticed was they were kind of doing the 3 for 2. Like, we were still getting buckets, and they were making a little push. It was a simple, 4-0 run, nothing crazy. They had a fast break, Braden Smith going down. Try to do a behind-the-back pass in transition for a 3. And don't get me wrong, if that goes in, that's 7 points. That's 7 points. That's timeout, Iowa State. But instead, it goes out of bounds. We go down, score a couple of baskets, and all of a sudden there's 11 minutes left in the game. Purdue does not have a timeout at home. Let me say that again. Purdue did not have a timeout remaining with 11 minutes left. I changed my answer. That's when they quit. I think the coaching staff even realized, our superhero, Braden Smith, has 6 turnovers. He's not invincible. We have 0 timeouts at home. What are we going to do?
Yeah. That's crazy. I mean, the other piece that we talked about last week too, who was the guy that led us in scoring? Milan. Like, it was exactly what we said. Like, the blueprint was right there. It's crazy how it all unfolded. I'm very, very pleased. Very pleased.
This has to be, I think this is the most satisfying win in school history. I think the Houston Big 12 tournament championship game, that beatdown, has to be on that list too. But considering the circumstances with how Friday went down, this one felt, this is how I would imagine an Elite 8 into a Final Four feels. You know what I mean? It's obviously it's a different, but this is how I imagine it would be like. I have never felt that it was such a beatdown. We went up, I think 9, and Painter calls timeout at like the 17 or 16-minute mark, like before the under 16. So I think 17 minutes or so. Like that's when we extended the lead and never went back. I looked at my buddy and I was like, oh, we're just going to be, sitting on this lead the entire time. Like get ready to be clenched up for the next like hour and a half. Not even a little bit, like not even close.
It's just rare to see a game like that. It's like I wouldn't even know if there's a game I could even think of in Iowa State history that would be close to that. Like I don't know if we've ever rolled Kansas like that, but yeah, I guess Houston, but it doesn't feel the same because like you point to like, well, that's the third game in 3 days. They're worn down. Like this is on a week of rest. Like how?
And it's not like there was a letdown spot either. They played Rutgers on Tuesday. They blew them out. They went back to their place. CBS broadcast 11 a.m. Just unreal.
I do want to go back. I just talk about the game just a little bit further, kind of the X's and O's. I thought that we defensively were so locked in on our rotations first and foremost. I didn't think that there's any overhelping. I watched a film breakdown today about a guy that was looking at our defense and what we're doing. A lot of it was just us being locked in. A lot of it was we were super disruptive to Braden Smith in particular. Like there's an example before the end of the half where they're trying to dribble out the clock, run the clock down, and then run their play. Heisey leaves from the short corner and just says, all right, we know what they're going to do. They're going to sit on the ball, take the air out of it, and then wind down something for a shot clock so that they don't give it back to us that soon. We just sent Heisey after Braden Smith while they were stationary, taking the air out of the basketball, and said, we're just going to go at you right now. So that causes Purdue is just trying to get into their whatever they're going to try and run with the amount allotted time on the clock that they want. We just sent someone after him to double for no reason. Okay. And after that, they didn't end up getting good luck. That obviously ends to the Milan scenario where he misses the wide open 3 that could have sent it to 7 before half. But I thought like it was just a wrinkle that we probably would not do for someone else. You know what I mean? Like that's a scouting report win. That is a preparation win. In the entire time that you watched us get into a stance on defense, I felt like we were more in control the entire game.
Yeah, I think the goal of the program and how TJ wants to run his program is to dictate how the game is played at all facets, whether it's offensively or defensively. And that's exactly to your point. Like they truly did dictate at least the entire second half defensively. Like it did not feel like Purdue was in control of the game even when they had the ball.
No, they looked uncomfortable the entire time.
Yeah.
That's the best offense in the country, and they looked uncomfortable for 40 minutes.
Yeah, it looked like the basketball equivalent of Super Bowl 40. Like, what was it, 48? Was that the one where the Seahawks just absolutely drubbed the Broncos? It looked like that one. Like the best offense versus the best defense, and it just looked bad.
My favorite part, and Sean, I think we rewatched the same breakdown from the guy because I was also going to mention that, was how we controlled Kaufman-Wren without Jefferson on the floor. Is his like 8 to 10 foot little push shot. It's unbelievable. He's very efficient, and he's very good at deciding between that and a little dump off to Jacobson or Clough down low. Because going into this game, Jacobson hadn't missed a shot from the field. He ended up missing 2. And so
crazy stat, by the way. Crazy stat.
Just unbelievable. And we forced him to miss 2,
straight.
not 1. Yeah. But the big part was we did a great job of not letting him go to the 8 to the 10 foot. We pushed him out to the fact that he was doing push shots from 15 feet away. That's just not efficient. We can live with that. That's completely fine. One of their best offensive rebounders and just simply one of the best in college basketball was not inside the paint doing a push shot. We'll take that all day. That was so unbelievable by the coaching staff to have the ability to not front, but kind of push him out like that. And then on top of your point, Heisey, Nelson, we're dictating their offense. We're sending those two at Braden Smith. You're starting your offense right now. We're not going to let you guys waste 10 more seconds. You guys are going to go now. And then one more point that I had written down was the pressure, and it all worked together so well. The combination, it was like a big three, is we fronted the post with one guy. We pressured the ball with another, and then we had a floater on the backside ready for help. All those three guys can just worked so well together, side by side by side. And then we had another guy defending his own man. And then in this case, Taman, for one example, was kind of playing a zone on two defenders. So if they do a skip pass to try to go to the player in the corner, that was usually Milan, helping from the backside, helping the defender who was fronting the post. Taman's playing that zone. He can go to two different guys right there, help out, maybe I can get back to one of the other guys. It was so efficient. It was so awesome to watch that breakdown and realize that our defense was not missing a step at all on the road against the number one team in the country. And I think if I remember who it is, I'll say it on the pod, but I couldn't remember that breakdown. But it was just unbelievable because the defense just worked so well together. And that is the definition of TJ basketball at Iowa State, was possessions like that where the defense just was amazing as one piece when there was multiple different pieces inside that. And it was just spectacular to watch. And I wish I could glaze it more. It was just unbelievable.
Shout out Mike LaTulip.
Yes.
I have
that
a question.
Was the breakdown.
If you guys, didn't mean to cut you off, but what would you guys think Toure is like in terms of tenure at Iowa State? If you just woke up today from a coma and you watched him play a game of basketball, what class would you think he is?
Junior.
Because it would not be freshman for me. I think it would be a junior. He looks like a junior out there guarding Braden Smith.
He looks very similar to Taman at the end of his sophomore year. So kind of end of the season, end of the Big 12 tournament, where Taman offensively was doing good, but defensively he was bringing it to Jamal Shed. He was bringing it to Cryer when he was still at I guess he was at Houston at that time. But he was taking it to other guys. He was showing them that he was one of the best defenders at the point guard position. And same way goes for Toure right now. He looks fantastic.
We've talked about it. He's well ahead of schedule. Looked under control. I don't know if you can necessarily say though, we bothered Braden Smith, right? Because this isn't anything that team hasn't seen before. But I think that we were pesky enough, and Toure in particular, which I don't know if you guys caught this. He took the assignment for Smith. It wasn't Lipsy. They obviously switched as defense was predicated, but he picked him up for the most part. Which again, we've talked about the double Bulldogs deal that we've got going on, stick Taman as a free safety and make Toure a linebacker type of deal. But I could not have been more impressed with the way those two had played.
I think that also plays into the groin injury too. Hey, let's be smart with his workload. It's still December. We're playing to win a championship in early April. So, but it's good to, double Bulldog is rare.
Yeah, that's fair.
In college basketball, very rare.
Yeah, Lipsy still played 32 minutes, which was the second most behind Milan. But I still think, I agree, he could have played, he could have played 38 or whatever. So, favorite question for you guys. Any moment in particular stick out from watching?
The dunk on Clough was pretty cool. A little revenge spot there for our guy. That was up there. Trying to think of another one. It was before that Painter timeout, before this under 16 in the second half. Lipsy had a great drive, kick to the corner, Milan 3, boom. All of a sudden, it's a 10-point game. We started from 4 at halftime to 10 now, and now they're calling a timeout and not waiting until the media. Those two probably stick out for me.
There was a Toure fast break finger roll in the second half. That was kind of contested. And then there's a Milan 3 where he comes off a dribble handoff pretty deep from the top right slot and just buried it. And I was like, there's no way he shoots that. Oh, he shot it. He made it. Like, that was great. Those are the two plays I remember the most.
Funny, because my two were both Milan. One was the shot clock desperation fade, like short corner towards the baseline deal, where he was Fletcher Lawyer was guarding him and he was dribbling around and got kind of pushed off his mark for a second, pivoted back towards the baseline to hit that fade. And then the second one was the one where Raftery called it right before he made it, where he goes, he loves the Dirk fade right as he gets to his right shoulder and he swished it in front of our bench. He is playing out of his gourd right now. Milan is. I don't like. Actually, here's a thought process: who do you pick to put on your all Big 12 first team right now? Because we arguably have two guys that should be considered, and then three if you really want to make another arguable point. I think in some combinations, Jefferson, Milan, then Lipsy. But like, look at the rest of the Big 12 for God's sakes. Like, Pete's got to be on there. I mean, I think that Peterson's got to be on there, assuming that he stays healthy. But like right now, how can you leave off either Milan and Jefferson?
I think both forwards are for sure. It just depends on if you want to call Jefferson your first team all Big 12 center and then throw Lipsy on there, because I think Pete and Peterson will both end up being on there at some point.
Yep.
Kansas looks like they're a Peterson away from being a real issue.
Kansas looked good today against Missouri. Now Missouri, not as good as they've been the past couple of years, but they looked very good.
What else from this game? Where did you guys watch it?
Just watched it here. It's great. Like I mentioned before, off the top, 11 a.m. start. You got to enjoy the win. Just enjoy the rest of the day. One of my favorite was, CBS broadcast. It's one of the best for college basketball. Just so good. But Bill Raftery just screaming at the Purdue defenders not to go under screens on Milan, and then Milan just hitting the threes. One of my favorite parts of the game, because it's just hilarious. Bill Raftery is over 80 years old, and he is just screaming at him to not go under, and just made me laugh.
Yeah, I was just watching on my phone in Fleet Farm. Nothing crazy.
Good to see that you're locked in.
First half.
Looks good, honey. Yeah, looks good, honey. Yeah.
Yeah, first half we had to do a return. Second half we were locked in.
Okay. All right, respect. Yeah, I was at home too. I wasn't going to go out. Being in Dallas the same weekend as Big 12 championship, I couldn't have got that game on TV if I bribed someone, So, man, I could continue to talk about it. I just quick box score, right? Iowa State shoots 54% to Purdue's 41. 48% from three to Purdue's 22. We make 11 threes. Purdue makes 4 of 6 from the line, 12 turnovers to Purdue's 15, considering how the game started. That's unbelievable. Points off turnovers, Iowa State wins by 4. Only lost by 1 rebound to one of the better rebounding teams in the country. If you'd have told me that right off the bat, I would say that's a dub. If that's what's going to happen, offensive rebounds, we lose by 4. Like I don't know. Like this is mind-boggling stuff, and I hope that we can think about this as we get into the meat of Big 12 play, because it's not going to be easy. This team's going to drop some games, right? Like we're not going undefeated by any means. So it's nice to have one that we can look back on at least and be like, hey, yeah, remember that? Yeah, that was pretty good. Because no matter what happens in the Big 10, Purdue's going to be a top 3 team, and we can always just say, hey, guess what?
Do you guys want – we're talking stats. This stat might be the best stat of all time. In the past 2 games, Iowa State is 33 of 53 from 3.
That's sustainable for sure.
Just unreal. Great stat.
Who would have thought that Alcorn State and then Purdue makes me laugh. It's not like we're in like West Virginia and then like Cincinnati. It's Alcorn State and then Purdue back to back. Sorry, Nate, I interrupted.
Oh no, you're good. I mean, it's just a nice ceiling. It just shows that could be what the ceiling is if you're in a tournament scenario. Like if you're playing a Thursday, Saturday stretch, like hey, we might go on a tear for a weekend. Like, not bad.
I will say some negative news here. I think I sent this to you guys at some point in the last couple of weeks. My theory I was working on about this team, about the prep time. Yeah, I think that one might have to take a hiatus for a little bit after the way that this game went. I don't think there's not a whole lot of stats to back up the theory that I had cooking regarding prep time, and the longer that a team has to prepare for Iowa State, the better it usually goes. Yeah, not the case this week.
Thanks, Matt.
We're workshopping. Yeah. Would you rather be right or have your team win by a zillion? Like, I'll take the personal win. We could lose again. That's fine.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on Purdue before we shift gears?
I'm good. Just unbelievable game. Just love that that's on the archive. We can go back and watch whenever we want to.
Talk about a potential letdown spot the next game.
No, don't say that. Come on.
Oh, we got to get it out there. We got to get it out there, otherwise it'll happen.
Yeah. It's true.
Lead us off then, Nate. What are your thoughts? We got the team out east approaching. I think Thursday night, right?
Yeah.
Thursday night, yes.
Yep. 12-11. I mean, after the players era, I felt pretty good going into this game, just knowing how we played. What's Iowa's? They're looking like they're a top 30-ish team. Ken Pom ranked 26, but their metrics are in the 30s. I think we should play this team similar to the way that we played Creighton or Syracuse. I think that should be the expectation coming off of this Purdue game. I think being a home game too, being a rivalry game against a new coach and a new regime there, I think you want to make a statement. I think that's how you get the guys ready myself. But what's the spread looking like, Sean?
12. Says Ken Pom.
I don't think there's
that's
official
about right.
spread for the game either.
No. This is just Ken Pom. So 12 points. Yeah, I mean Iowa. Tough to put a finger on right now. I would say just based on their schedule, because they really have not played anyone with a pulse aside from Michigan State, who beat them by 1 trillion. They won a close one against Ole Miss in late November. They took care of business against Syracuse, and that one seems to be depreciating, with Syracuse hovering towards the top, almost 100. Ken Pom. I think Iowa, the biggest thing and the biggest adjustment that Iowa State's going to have to deal with is just that they play at a snail's pace. So McCollum, especially Drake too, part of a staple for his teams were just how slow they were. However, I mean, they were also uber efficient on offense. And this Iowa team does have a good offense. They move the ball really nicely. I think their biggest issue is going to be what kind of contributions can you get from someone not named Stiriz, right? Like you've got a ball dominant, very skilled point guard who's a top 10 point guard in college basketball. Is probably safe to say he's extremely good. But the rest of their team is a lot of Drake carryovers. And I think the narrative, at least from the media, it sounds like the last couple of weeks has just been who's the next guy? Because Stiriz can create shots for others. My question is just where does the second portion of that scoring come from? And in particular, the reason I say that is because I think the Michigan State game, so they lose 71-52. Stiriz was the only player in double figures. When you were eliminating, right? Yeah, I wasn't. My issue is if you're going to be limiting possessions and you have one guy who's tasked with doing a bulk of the work, do you feel like that maximizes your chances to be efficient, or do you feel like it minimizes it? Right? Like, what would the numbers say? I don't know. I don't know if there's a right answer, but that's going to be something that they're going to have to deal with, especially as they get into the meat of conference play, or if they want to play as slow as they want to be, right? Ken Pom's is projecting 66 possessions. Just for added clarity and context, Our game against Purdue was at 65, Alcorn State 80, Syracuse 72.
One big point, and it's something you sent in our text chain. It was a quote from McCollum, and it was about Brendan Housen not playing a ton of minutes. You know, transfer from K-State. Everybody thought he went off against Iowa State. He was 2 for 5 from deep. Just got to get that. Remind people that he was 2 for 5. But yeah, he transferred to Iowa. People thought, big deal. You know, a lot of size. So Iowa's backcourt with Stiriz, good shooter. But he hasn't played a lot, especially in the past couple of games. And this quote from Ben was, I think we needed more driving, and we didn't have enough driving in that game. So we're trying to get more to the paint, a little more consistency, but we couldn't get him in the rotation like we wanted, unquote. So that for me is you are struggling to get drives against defenses of Ole Miss, of Maryland, of Xavier. What are you going to do against Iowa State on the road? That's a big point for me. And it's not, oh, these a bunch of Drake transfers. We have Torrey and Taman against Sturts. Like, those are all little key roles in this. The big story is, it sounds like, and if you watch the game against Maryland, there was times Maryland's not a good defensive team, 1 through 5. They have a couple good defenders. Payne down low is very good, but 1 through 5 not good defensively. Offensively, they are stagnant. They are having trouble getting drives when it's not Sturts. Sturts is so under control, but a big part in this game is he plays so slow when he is creating drives. He's so under control, so slow. And the defenses, they're rotating, but some of these teams, their defensive rotations aren't great. They're not meant for it, blah, blah, blah. TJ's teams are so good at rotating. And the way this offense moves for Iowa is you're just letting them get caught up. And I'm trying to think of a way where it's pro-Iowa, but it's so easily pro-Iowa State in the fact you have one guy trying to create everything, and our 2 best defenders are capable of guarding him and shutting him down. Now, will they? We sure hope so. Number 2, you guys are stagnant on offense. Guess what Iowa State thrives on? You holding the ball and not making a true move to the rim unless there's 10 seconds. Because Iowa State is phenomenal at stopping your first choice. And guess what? If you start your first choice at 10 seconds, now there's 5 seconds and you have nothing on offense. That's kind of what I'm seeing this game at. But at the same point, we saw the corrections made from the Michigan State loss into the Maryland spot. And we're going to see the improvements against the up-style, tough defense in a tough environment and how they will improve like they did against Michigan State.
I'm interested to see where they initiate their offense from. I think it'll be very much dictated by how the refs decide to call the game in terms of physicality. I think, Tom, your points are correct. I think, Sean, your points are correct as well. I'm going to side with both you guys. I think the stagnation and the slow pace on offense feeds into Iowa State's hands because we can do exactly what you were talking about earlier, where we can just go send Heisey from the short corner and go double him since he's the guy that we have to get rid of. I mean, are we really worried about the rest of what Iowa's contributors are? Do we think that we're going to see 4 or 5 of them score 10 to 12 points? I probably don't. That's how you win this game is you dictate defensively, and I think they won't be able to initiate offense very close to the 3-point line.
Yeah, great point. Yeah, I wasn't thinking about that necessarily. And just to be clear, I don't think Iowa's offense is not stagnant in terms of lack of ball movement. I think when you're walking the ball up the floor every single possession, I think you have fewer chances. Like, you just have fewer chances to do everything, and that is usually what you would see teams with elite defense do. Houston, Virginia come to mind, right? Super slow because, hey, our best side of the floor is going to be on the other end. So I want to maximize our chances down there to create turnovers and get out in transition. Iowa's a super efficient fast break team when they do decide to run. So that is something to keep an eye on if they can force some live ball turnovers. However, I think McCollum is a really good coach. I don't think this is the year for them. I think Stiriz is such a good placeholder. Think about if this is going to suck to say, so bear with me. Don't punch me in the face through the camera. think about Campbell taking Rocco with him as a holdover for what he's going to be doing at Penn State. That's kind of how Sturz is for CJ, or excuse me, CJ McCollum, for Ben McCollum, right, in Iowa. A great starting point for as he starts to get his guys in. And I'm going to shut up because I hate that I just said that.
You're not wrong is the thing. It's Nate also pointed out, like, Banks, Howard, like, these guys, you're going to, just like Purdue, where Lawyer went 1 for 5 from deep, Harris 0 for 3, Mayer 0 for 3. Like, for Garris, for Iowa, you know, he's solid, the transfer from Robert Morris. But also Jefferson's going to be on most of the game. And I think it's a great spot. Fulgaris isn't really a tough defender down low. This is a great rebound spot. Not actually rebounding, but a spot and opportunity for Jefferson to come back from a tough game at Purdue. I think this is a real opportunity where he can collapse the defense, and I think you're going to see a lot of open looks for the Iowa State guards in this game. And I just, again, with Iowa, because they move the ball on the outside. The problem is, like their coach said on that quote, they're not penetrating enough for the rotations to make them matter on defense. These guys aren't collapsing on their drives. Their drives happen, they get stopped midway through, they pivot, they pass out, and that's where the fast ball movement happens. The ball movement isn't moving fast inside the three-point line. And I think that's where it hurts Iowa. It hurt Iowa against Michigan State with all their athletes, and I think it will hurt against Iowa State.
What's the recipe that you guys see this going well for Iowa State, and what's the recipe for Iowa to pull off an upset?
I think if the referees called the game really ticky-tacky, I think that would be a starting point for it to go negative. I mean, obviously, if you don't make shots, you don't make shots. That's also a great way to lose a game. Sturz goes for 30, and both point guards get in early foul trouble. I think that's how you lose the game.
I would jump on that free throw and kind of officiating thing for Iowa. I mean, Purdue shot 14, we shot 6, and I couldn't care less because the officiating was consistent. And that's what we asked for on the preview of Purdue. We wanted it to be consistent, and that's what it was, and we thrived. I would hope it's the same in Hilton. I think TJ's very good at talking to the refs and making them understand the defense and not exactly yelling at them. So that's a big part for Iowa's success. For Iowa State, I think it's Jefferson. Collapse the defense. We saw his passing against phenomenal bigs in St. John's and Purdue. And Iowa, they aren't the best down low. So you collapse that defense, you take it one-on-one, and you just put it to them. I'm really excited. This isn't a pro Iowa win the game or pro Iowa State. I'm so excited for Toure on Sturz. I think the 6'4" frame with his wingspan, his ability to defend, him and Sturz one-on-one, it's going to be awesome to watch. Obviously cheering for Toure, but I think that's just such a great matchup for basketball.
I think in looking at what Michigan State did to Iowa, they pounded them on the boards. And I think that's Iowa State's recipe for success, right? I mean, Michigan State, even in particular, 34 to 18 points in the paint. So it wasn't like the game plan was, we don't think that you can stop us down low. And I think that should be our attitude as well. Like this to me screams Jefferson game.
Iowa didn't double to start either, especially on Kohler. They let him go one-on-one. Kohler ate him alive down low. They started a double. It made a little bit of a difference, but it just took a little more time on their offensive end, and Michigan State still got a good shot. Yeah, I keep proving that point because Jefferson down low, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, 13-6 Michigan State on the offensive boards, and I think Iowa State should do something similar. I think the recipe for Iowa is – it's hard not to talk about this without saying that Sturz goes crazy. But I'm trying to talk myself into Sturz goes for 15, but has 10 assists and their role players go nuts. I don't know if that's fair to talk about necessarily. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel like you could get maybe one or two guys that could contribute to great value. I don't think they're getting 4 to 5 guys that all break double figures. Especially again, if you're going to play as slow as you're playing, like the numbers, the math is not going to math. You know what I mean?
Fulgaris is the guy I would look at, the forward from Robert Morris, because if he has a good game, he's shooting the ball well, which means he's on the floor, which means he's defending well enough against Jefferson. And 2, Jefferson is working harder than he usually would be on the defensive end against a guy like him. So that would be my guy to watch out for. I don't think he's going to carve us up in any means, but like gun to my head, I got to choose a secondary player. I think it's him. I think he does kind of have the recipe to get hot. I don't know if that could continue against our defense, though.
I think Iowa's got to get to 80 points if they're going to win the game. Like, I think we will score 80. I'm looking at how many times they've scored 80 against Power 5 opponents. Maryland, they scored 83, and they scored 81 against Xavier. Everybody else, Ole Miss, they only scored 74, Michigan State 52, even Grand Canyon, they only scored 59. I think you have to hold Iowa State to 70, and you have to get to 80. Like, that's how Iowa wins this game. And
my big stat I'm going to come back to when we're recapping this game, who had more points off of live ball turnovers. I think that is ginormous in this game. Live ball turnovers for Iowa State includes points and the crowd. Live ball turnovers for Iowa leads to points, and points that didn't take 25 seconds to get. I think that goes a long way for both teams.
I think, Nate, I agree with what you're saying. I think we could probably subtract 10 from each of those just because the possession count is going to be so low that 80 feels so extreme. Like if we're like Michigan State pounded Iowa and only got to 71, like that's 58 possessions. That's low. So I think if you say they score 70 and then hope that Iowa State gets a 60, but then again, you say it out loud and you go, I don't like are we going to score 65?
Yeah, like even if it's slow, I still think we're going to be efficient enough in being able to dictate. Like we're the number 6 offense in the country, the number 2 defense in the country. Like you would think that most of the game would be controlled by how Iowa State wants to play it.
Yes. Last point I will say. So my key is going to be the glass, points in the paint. I also think this is a game where I would really expect to see a little bit of mean regression in our 3-point shooting. Like, I don't think – like, we're not going to continue to shoot 50% from 3. Like, hate to break that to everyone, but that's not happening. So my counter to that, though, is this. I don't think you hunt it as much as you have in the past. You still run your offense, do your basic stuff. I think you, with an emphasis on paint touches, you're going to get the looks that you want. I don't think that we need to be hunting as much as maybe we have in the last couple of games. Yes or no?
I like that mentality. I think you're trying to get 2 feet in the paint, especially this game with the lack of possessions. I think the threes you hunt are, hey, if you get the paint and everybody collapses on you, look at one of the 2 corners. Like, that's the 3. If you're hunting a 3, that's the one you're looking at. And I feel comfortable with Milan shooting those all day. But, yeah, I think if we have a Jefferson with 2 feet in the paint, he's making decisions, that's good for us.
Yes,
Exactly
less above the break threes, I think is what I'm trying to say. Because to your point, Nate, it's corner to corner if you're doing that.
Yeah, that's not – I mean – yeah, you're not hunting the transition top of the key 3. No. Like, take your time. Let's see if we can get a paint touch and go from there.
Absolutely agree.
All right. Ken Palm says Iowa State 12-point win. Nate and Tom say what?
Rivalry game makes me think it's going to be a tough first half. But I'm usually a pessimist for this game. I would hope that we cover the Ken Palm spread, but I think we win. Ken Palm should be right.
72-58, like close for most of the game, pull away with like 3 minutes left. But I think we're in control for most of it. I think that is kind of the formula where it's that 10 to 12 point range most of the game, but we're in control. It feels like it's 20 points, even though it's 12. And I'm so excited for Taman and Torrey on on Sturts down low, and I really hope we see the blitzing like we saw in Braden Smith. Braden Smith had 6 turnovers, like at home. You just don't see that a lot from him. So I'm really excited for the defense.
How many times did Monte ever have 6 turnovers in a game? I'd love to see that, like, if that stat is findable. I don't know if we can even find that, but I doubt he's got many.
See what Grok comes up with real quick while I finish this up. I think Iowa covers barely. If 12 ends up being the spread or whatever, I think Iowa covers. Only reason I say that is because I think it'll be a lower scoring game than we all think it is. If Iowa truly is going to walk it up, then that's just what we're going to get. So fewer possessions, fewer chances for points. I like Iowa State by 8 or so. Like, that feels about right. I don't think that this is going to be any kind of cakewalk, by the way. Like you said, rivalry game, new coach from the state of Iowa, or coach at Drake is what I mean, kind of understands it, right? Like, I think that they're going to be ready to go. My question for them is just, who do you get that secondary and tertiary performance from? Like, that's the song and dance for me for this one. Can they keep up?
I got the Monte stat for you guys. His max turnovers in the game was 4.
What year was it? What year for him was it?
Yes.
I just did a chat GPT.
Okay.
He only turned the ball over 4 times in 5 games. That's the most he ever had was 4, though. So he did 4 turnovers 5 times across a 4-year career. I mean, that's insane. I mean, I had 3 turnovers in one game.
How many minutes?
3.
Hell yeah, that's efficiency right there.
Yes, I was just handing it away.
You're per 100. You're averaging 100 turnovers per 100 possessions.
Yeah, it was
per 100 minutes, I should say.
That was my first minutes. I threw a full court outlet pass. I got picked off really easily. Got ripped and filmed the next day.
That's more turnovers than. All I'm hearing is that Tom and I have combined for fewer turnovers than you have in all of our college careers. So, checkmate.
Yeah, you're better. It's confirmed.
Right. That's right. All right. Thanks everyone for listening. This was a fun one. It's always great to break down a once in a decade type of win. You know, the good news about this is that it does seem like these are occurring on a regular basis. So hoping for some more good news next week when we talk through Iowa. But until then, thanks everyone for listening. Take care and have a great week.